In my last video on the ILR debate, I focused on what the MPs said, what this means if you're already on the 5-year pathway to settlement, and how the government responded. And to keep that video short and watchable, I left out one big piece, and that is what brings us here today. And this is very important because there was something that deserved its own space. So before you come for me, this isn't a repeat of my other video, which was the full breakdown of what actually happened on that debate. It is just a fresh angle that I could not fit into the first video. Now, some of you may already be familiar with how debates in the parliament work. A lot of point scoring, sharp divides, sometimes very little warmth. But the recent ILR debate was different and it broke that pattern. If you've not watched the first video, you may not know the angle I am coming from, or if you've not watched the debate in itself, I will link the two videos, the breakdown or the one from the parliament itself. You choose which one to watch, and then when you come back to watch this video, you will understand exactly where I am coming from and why I'm saying what I'm saying. Time and time again, the MPs turned to one group, the British nationals overseas from Hong Kong, or for short and for the sake of this video, we'll call them the BNOs. Now, I asked myself, why did their voices dominate a debate that was meant for all immigrants? And I had a few answers in my head. And what can we learn from this? Because this debate revealed a lot, and a lot of things that many other immigrants may not have considered initially. So that is what we will be unpacking today. I will keep this very short and straight to the point so that I don't waste any of your time. Let's start with a quick bit of history so we're all on the same page. When the UK handed Hong Kong back to China in 1997, many Hong Kong residents received a special status called British nationals, in bracket overseas. It wasn't a full British citizenship, but it recognized a deep historical ties. Now, fast forward to 2020, Beijing imposed a sweeping national security law that cracked down on freedoms. And in response, the UK created the BNO visa route, offering Hong Kongers and their families a safe pathway to live, work, and settle in the UK. That promise, as well as the moral and political commitment, was at the heart of this indefinite leave to remain debate. What struck many people, as well as myself, was the change of mood inside the Westminster Hall. Instead of the usual tensions, MPs across parties kept using the word fairness, contribution, keeping promises, like everyone was speaking in the same direction, the same tone. Of course, except one person, which I'm not going to dwell on in this video because I've already covered that. Immigrants were talked about as if they were colleagues, neighbors, not just some numbers on a spreadsheet. And every time the MPs want to make an example to make these words real, they turned to the Hong Kong BNO community. And at some point, I was wondering what happened to other immigrants. Do they stand a chance in this debate? Will their petition be considered? Because if you check the petitions, other immigrant communities had the highest number of petitioners. About 160,000 or more people signed that petition in comparison with the Hong Kong BNO that it was just about 108, but at least it still triggered a debate. So why did this other community stand out so strongly? Because whether we like it or not, their visa route is different from the one that is being debated about. It was the BNOs versus the skilled worker. So the weight of that debate will still be carried back to the government, and all of it will be considered. So it's not like I'm trying to separate, oh, these immigrants from these immigrants, but whether we like it or not, they're on a different visa category, and other immigrants are on a different visa category. So there's no comparison at all. One reason that I believe their voices stood out so strongly is personal connections. MPs spoke about BNO neighbors, teachers, business owners, even local councillors that they know personally. Another reason is historical ties or historical commitment. The BNO visa route came from Britain's promise to protect freedom when the Hong Kong democracy was under threat. Another reason I gathered from that debate was visible commitment. Remember, I'm still talking about why I think their voices stood out in this debate. MPs highlighted families buying homes, integrating into schools, volunteering, and opening businesses, most of which they have seen happening in their constituency. And these weren't just, like I said, abstract stories, they were vivid first name stories that was easy for the MPs to defend and repeat. Now, compare that to how other immigrants were discussed. Yes, the MPs praised their huge role in the NHS and the economy, but that was in a very broad sense, like saying things like migrants keep our hospitals running during COVID. Migrants did da 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 da. During this time, migrants paid da 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 da. All true, but less personal. It's more of a broad view. Don't get me wrong, there are some people from other migrant communities that wrote to their MPs that they shared in the during this debate, but there were just not many as compared to the Hong Kong BNOs. So I am not saying that other migrant communities did not show their faces. They did, but more than half of the time, the MPs spoke of other immigrant communities in a very broader sense of the word, or in a broader view, comparing to the BNOs that they could actually relate to personally. This doesn't mean that other immigrant communities are doing less. Far from it. Every day, immigrants keep care homes open, fill critical NHS gaps, run businesses, and pay taxes. The difference in this case, I would say, is visibility. Many of us are doing all this incredible work quietly, almost behind the curtain kind of situation. And here is what I want to share, just a very small observation, my 2 cents, not a prescription, and nobody is obligated to take these points on. Immigrant communities already give so much to the UK, and that stands on its own. But watching this debate, one thing was hard to miss: visibility. I feel like the BNO community has shown how consistent, visible engagement can reach the parliament's floor. If a community ever wants to raise its profile, here are a few gentle ideas. Tell your stories locally. Invite your MPs to events or send quick updates about projects and volunteering. Secondly, celebrate achievements openly. Cultural festivals, mentoring schemes, local businesses, let them be known. Work more collectively. Petitions and coordinated letters carry more weight than quiet individual efforts. Again, this isn't about competing with the BNOs. It's making sure that when policies are being discussed, every group's contribution is seen and felt. We already give so much, but the point is not to let those contributions stay hidden. But in all of this, the MPs warned against retrospective changes and linked fairness to Britain's credibility and showed that they will speak up for groups whose stories they know personally. While all of this doesn't write the law immediately, they could shape the government's upcoming debate, upcoming consultation, and possibly the climate around future decisions. So, yeah, stories and visibilities can shift the atmosphere in Parliament. So, what do you think? How can other immigrant communities make their contributions more visible without feeling like they have to compete? Because if you ask me, I know that other immigrants are doing so much more. It's just all wrapped up behind the curtains. But even with that, I do think that they see it. Drop your thoughts below, and if you missed my other full breakdown, I'll leave the link up here, somewhere here, and in the description. So till I see you next time, bye for now.